We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. HOTspots magazine's special issue features sizzling stories, celeb interviews, and tips for Labor Day fun. Get your free copy on Thursday.
Claire Burugaba discusses Uganda's anti-LGBTQ laws with Pope Francis. The Pope condemns discrimination and encourages defending LGBTQ rights.
Jack Daniels reduced DEI programs after pressure from conservative Twitter user Robbie Starbuck. The company has cut ties with LGBTQ organizations.
Conservative nationalist Jason Rapport urges removing LGBTQ books from Arkansas libraries, labeling them smut. He is also threatening funding cuts.
MMP data shows strong HIV care engagement, but also highlights stigma, discrimination, and unmet needs that still exist in the LGBTQ+ community, particularly in Florida.
Good evening. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, that we now have more than 9.5 million views. More than 500,000 of you have watched this show in the last 60 days. Thank you. It is Tuesday, August 27th, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show. Literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ evening news show. Whatever happens, unique in LGBTQ news, you will see it and hear it.
HOTspots magazine, Out Television Network, is a non-profit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBT community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, HOTspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and our television, news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
Let's meet tonight anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Jeff Oliverio. He is a financial advisor and certified financial planner with Truist Wealth in Fort Lauderdale. Jeff is one of the founders and president of the Hollywood LGBTQ+ Council. He has served as co-chair for the National LGBTQ Task Force Gala since 2021. Jeff, it's always good to see you. The 2024 Task Force Gala is back. It is on October 16th at the Miami Beach Convention Center. Tell me what's happening.
First of all, the gala is being held on October the 19th. So
19th.
We'll just correct the record.
We're going to take it back real quick.
And yes, we're really excited. We are launching a lot of details coming out soon, including our hosts, our national honoree, which I can't share today, so I'll share that on a future broadcast. But we have a lot of great things coming. We're doing an after party again with our House of Trouble friends. Tickets are available, sponsorships are available, table hosts are available. We have a lot of great participation. This is an iconic event that's raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for the South Florida LGBTQ community in partnership with our fund and the Miami Foundation. So go to Task Force Gala for more information.
And that's October 19th.
That's it.
Can't say it too many
Miami
times.
Beach.
The 19th. Let's welcome back Alex Morash. Alex has written for The Advocate and served as editor-in-chief of Options Magazine. He has also served as media director of the National LGBTQ Task Force and press secretary for the Florida Democratic Party. Welcome back, Alex.
Thank you for having me back, Eric. It looks like a wonderful time here. I have enjoyed listening to all the wonderful people in our live studio audience tonight.
Oh my God. Isn't it great?
They're both wonderful.
There we go. The crowd goes wild, actually.
Yes.
Let's welcome back anchor Rajee Narine-Singh, a famous transgender activist, actress, author, mystic, and reality television personality. She is of multiracial descent and has appeared on more than 35 television shows, more like 100 television shows across the globe. She is an activist for Trans Social. Welcome back, Rajee. How are you?
I'm doing great, and it's great to be back. I'm back! I'm so excited about TransCon, which is on the 7th, Saturday the 7th of September. I will be out there with my Trans Social family, so we'll have a table out there. Lots of resources for the community, and also fun things for our community.
And I'm sure that's not the last that you'll hear of TransCon tonight.
No.
So if you have not met Von Biggs, please take the time now. Meet Von Biggs, a trailblazing advocate for health equity and HIV treatment. As community outreach coordinator at Holy Cross Health, he leads initiatives for the LGBTQ plus community and people living with HIV. His roles as vice chair of the RW Part A Planning Council and founding board member of Trans Ed underscore his dedication, to inclusivity and systematic change. Known for his powerful public speaking, Von tirelessly champions the rights of marginalized communities, making him a respected leader in health equity and social justice. Von, Holy Cross will be at TransCon 2024, a conference by and for trans non-binary folks. It will be held on September 7th. Please tell me what's happening.
I'm really excited. We had the news, obviously that the previous executive director had resigned from TransCon, and there were questions in the community, is this still going to happen? And so I did reach out and speak to the person that's currently leading the charge with that. So we'll definitely be there. Holy Cross has been to the last 3, I think 2 or 3 of their events. So it's very important to support this community. And anybody out there, come support your siblings.
And I am almost positive that you can just type in TransCon 2024 on any smart device and find out more information.
Yeah.
And I have to say this,
Yes.
Von is such a wonderful advocate and supporter of the transgender community.
Thank you.
And every time I see him at an event, he's just so welcoming and loving and fully engaged. So you can tell it's real.
Thank you.
It's real. You're such a wonderful advocate for us.
We're
Thank
so
you.
happy to have you at
Thank
the
you.
table.
Yes,
Von.
thank you.
The bottom
That's
of my
sweet.
heart.
Thank you.
Aw.
And of course, this is tonight's lead anchor, Eric Restivo. He is well known for DJing at some of the largest clubs in West Hollywood and has had residencies in LA, P-Town, New York City, and now Wilton Manors.
Yes.
He is a television host of the W Boys, focusing on LGBTQ plus love for entertainment, broadcast on Fridays, and then on demand. Welcome, Eric.
I've got my auntie cheerleader right next to me.
Exactly.
Giving everything. I did just want to say a little bit about the W Boys and not say too much at the same time. I wanted to let everyone know that the W Boys has been a little bit of a casting hiatus. We are coming back. Not the same cast, so a new casting announcement will be made in the next couple of weeks, and the title will also be changing. So stay tuned. That's some hot off the press news that I was cleared to say, by the way. So anyway,
leaks here.
yeah, no
No
leaks.
leaks.
No, we're not leaking here.
Tight ship here.
We segue into We Are the Reporters for Queer News Tonight. And this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for Tuesday, August 27th, 2024. First, this evening, let's queer up gay culture. HOTspots magazine's new issue out on August 29th with a special Labor Day edition. HOTspots is celebrating 40 years with the new issue on stands Thursday. The magazine is part of HOTspots Happening Out, the largest nonprofit LGBTQ plus media group in America. The upcoming issue is a special Labor Day edition where you will meet HOTspots hottie Jonathan. Can't wait. The magazines will have tips on how to throw a fabulous Labor Day party as well. The new issue has amazing features, including one by Leo M. Irving named Red Carpet Ready, which will cover all of your favorite exciting upcoming award shows. Do you know Community Health has appointed a new chief of marketing? I do. If you want to know the name, you must buy the new issue to find out. If you are looking for steamy content, you have to read the interview with adult film star Carter Collins by Paul Hutnick. Plus, Disney on Ice is returning to 2 venues in South Florida with fan favorite stories. You will know everything about this in the new issue. Loosen Up by Leo Harley will teach you the best ways of stretching and relaxing those sore muscles. HOTspots magazine has introduced a feature series, Kings We Love, and the first king is none other than family favorite Oscar A. Nova. Buy the new issue this Thursday to have access to this candid interview. You must read the features on how the Our Fun Foundation helped LGBTQ plus arts and culture when DeSantis eliminated the vast majority of state grants, and Pandora Events Journey as they celebrate their 25th anniversary of iconic events for gay women. And of course, you can read popular features like Hot Eats by Maria Espinal and Out with Scott and What's Hot by Scott Holland. Grab your free copy of HOTspots magazine on Thursday, August 29th, or you might just miss out on all of the fun. Wow, I feel like I just covered the whole magazine, and I'm still excited to go get one on stands this Thursday. I say it every time I get to cover this story. It's truly a one-stop LGBTQ plus shop for all of us to find out where you want to go for dinner that night, because I am the worst. My husband will ask me where I want to go for 45 minutes, and it'll just turn into him deciding, and then I can't agree with that. So we'll just look in the magazine. And I love the steamy content. I haven't seen that, outside of some of the racy little cute covers we get. So I'm excited. Does anyone have a favorite section of HOTspots?
The only place you can read about porn stars and Disney on Ice in the same place.
I almost said Disney.
Then you can stretch it out afterwards.
I almost said it Disney One because I thought we were talking about the streaming channel, but Disney on Ice is even more exciting, to be fair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm surprised that the magazine's older than I am. Let me stop.
I'm remaining silent.
Come on now, I need your support,
That's
guys.
so great at what you do, Unpigs. Silence.
But no, I mean, it really is a staple in our community. Yes. It really is. And ever since I've been down here, which I came down in like 89. Don't tell anybody.
I won't tell anyone.
But yeah, it's
They can hear you.
darn it. But it's truly a staple and a great resource for all of us,
I agree. Thank you,
It's a great decision maker for where to eat.
Yes.
Too. But just like you were saying.
Oh, it really is.
Friends, we're always the same thing. Where do you want to? I don't care. Where do you want to go? Let's go somewhere different. Well, where would that be? What's new? Don't know. Okay, pick up the magazine. Let's find out.
Yeah, it's wonderful that it's getting to 40 years as a celebration. It's a huge point for a magazine. On this particular edition, does that particular adult entertainment person look familiar to me? No comment. No clue.
You can neither confirm or deny. Right.
And next, let's queer up the world view. Pope welcomes Ugandan LGBTQ activists to Rome. I'm sure the Pope loved the last story. In a significant moment for LGBTQ advocacy, Claire Bugaba, a Ugandan LGBTQ activist and diversity officer at Chapter 4 Uganda, met Pope Francis in Rome earlier this month. Bugaba, who is at the forefront of LGBTQ support in a country where same-sex relations are criminalized, described the meeting as an honor. She used the opportunity to discuss the harsh realities faced in Uganda, where same-sex sexual relations are punishable by life imprisonment or even death under the Anti-Homosexuality Act. Bugaba shared on Twitter that the Pope warmly welcomed her and invited her to sit with him, writing, quote, "His Holiness related that discrimination is a sin and violence against LGBTQ people is unacceptable. He said the Church should never discriminate. He walks with everyone that has been denied their dignity. He further encouraged us to defend our rights, end quote. The Anti-Homosexuality Act, signed into law by President Yoweri Museveni last year, has drawn widespread international condemnation. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre previously called it deeply concerning, highlighting the global outcry against Uganda's severe anti-LGBTQ measures. Uganda is not the only African country with discriminatory anti-LGBTQ laws. The long list includes names like Ghana, Tanzania, and Zambia. This is both a wonderful and sad story at the same time, both seeing what's happened in Uganda and, researching a little bit of the story ahead of time. The Ugandan president loves to use things like this to get a public outcry internationally and then condemn the public outcry as interference, which is a strategy we see in a lot of brutal dictators and authoritarians tend to use. I think there's someone running for office in the United States that does similar things. The name escapes me, but also
dictator.
Yeah. But the Pope is a very imperfect person. But Pope Francis, I always have a soft spot for him. I call me a Pope Francis apologist. I know, but he always said at the end of the day, show that he's a human being that does care about other people.
Yeah, that's true.
I think, too, we have to realize we have to, meet people where they are. And Pope Francis is, the head of the Catholic Church, which has a very long history of not being welcoming to our community. So, there are small steps he's taken. He's also, as we've covered here, taken some steps backwards and used some language that might not be politically correct today. But again, he is making the effort, which is more than we can say for the Ugandan president.
I just have to say my heart goes out to all the LGBTQ Ugandans, because I know life is really hard for me at times, but I can't even imagine living in a country where it's a threat. You're threatened to be sentenced to life and even possibly death.
Absolutely.
So it must be so hard for those folks. And all the other countries, like you named Ghana and some of the other ones. I mean, my heart goes out. And I never take it for granted. We have our problems here in America, but I am proud and happy to be an American. And I also am able to see the benefits and the progression that we have here, as opposed to other places in the world where LGBTQ people, they're way behind us,
Well said.
And I'm going to sing, che kule, kafisa, kafisa, kafisa langa, kafisa langa, la chalanga, kum, adende. That's a Ghanaian song.
I was here for it. Let's go. I was here.
Yes.
So Ghana, I know one of your songs. Come on, start loving our community.
Auntie Rajee knew.
Right.
Ready.
Right.
I had that tucked away.
Next, let's queer up business. Another major business surrenders to conservative threat. In a notable shift, Jack Daniels has scaled back its diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives following threats from conservative influencer Robbie Starbuck. Starbuck, known for targeting companies over the DEI efforts, recently announced on Twitter, quote, "Big news. The next company we were set to expose was Jack Daniels," end quote. He also mentioned that the whiskey giant has already altered several of its DEI programs. Starbucks suggested that Jack Daniels preemptively changed its DEI policies after, quote, "They must have been tipped off by us through employee LinkedIn pages," end quote. An email from Brown-Forman, Jack Daniels' parent company, revealed the decision to end partnerships with the Human Rights Campaign and the Corporate Equality Index, which monitors LGBTQ workplace policies. The company cited an evolution of its DEI program to a, quote, "strategic framework." Eric Bloom of the Human Rights Campaign condemned the move, criticizing Starbucks as a political bully and election denier. Bloom warned that Jack Daniels' decision risks alienating a significant portion of its customer base. Quote, "With nearly 30% of Gen Z identifying as LGBTQ and the community wielding $1.4 trillion in spending power, retreating from these principles condemns both consumer trust and employee success," end quote. We've been covering these stories. We talked about it with Microsoft. Again, I work for a large corporation. A lot of these policies are being weighed and measured with what's happening from public outcry. They're being measured against a board of directors and profitability. The liquor industry specifically, again, I know from doing Hollywood Pride and doing lots of events around the community, and all of us know it's very hard to get sponsorships. Part of it is they're having budget cuts because they're all suffering from sales. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, Jack Daniels and Brown-Forman, I believe, scored a 100 on the Corporate Equality Index from the HRC, which means their employees are being protected, which I think is something we all should be applauding them for. And this rebranding is part of, again, the Supreme Court case has caused companies to have to rebrand initiatives that they're not specific to women, to LGBTQ, to Asian, to Black. and to make them more, which I think they're using in that language, more inclusive around their strategy. So the words, sometimes we want to just, let's boycott, we can't boycott everyone because it's not going to work. What we have to do is put our words and be more strategic. And I think that's what the companies are doing. And I applaud them for, again, having, they're a welcoming culture. It says in the article that I read about them today that, they give benefits for transgender, medical care. I mean, so they're doing things that are not being covered in this story just because they're maybe not sponsoring Pride.
They're not just wearing, a Pride shirt
exactly,
every day.
Exactly.
They're
Not just during June.
They're not just
not just during June.
Right.
Right. Good point.
They're not just not having a DEI program, they're also cutting ties with the Human Rights Campaign.
Right.
There's no Supreme Court case that says you can't interact with the Human Rights Campaign. This goes back to what I always, talk about, whether I'm talking about in The Advocate of Washington Place, like corporations at best are fair weather friends, and even then, I don't know. I'm not saying that like a queer group shouldn't basically take their money. Please liberate as much of their money as possible, but don't expect much. And if times get tough, know that they're going to abandon you.
I look at Wilton Manors here and Hollywood that I believe both have perfect scores for HEI, which is awesome. Holy Cross, we've done our score, with HEI, and everything's different. You've got cities, they have different guidelines, hospitals, they have clearly different guidelines. Corporations do as well, but it is basically about the protection and the inclusive, that everybody's protected. Everybody has rights. And to be pushed back by, I don't know, a single person on Twitter, I'm just like,
well, that's
I just saw, yeah.
Me too. Like, where does he come from? A long line of doing this, or does he just, like, who is this person? I thought of coffee.
Yeah.
His last name.
And
so I was like, is this a Starbucks article we're reading right now?
And I'm not a big pusher of like the spending capital of people, but something HRC had reported on a couple of years ago. The number one employer of LGBTQ people are restaurants. Who's going to be distributing Jack Daniels more?
Right.
Are restaurants and bartenders. Maybe they might not be so willing to suggest Jack Daniels going forward because of this. Like a lot of this doesn't make a ton of sense. Like one guy on Twitter is able to influence Jack Daniels.
He must be very convincing.
I also have to believe too that, again, I don't believe it was one person on Twitter that changed their entire corporate policy, because again, Brown-Forman is one of the largest spirits companies in the world. I don't think this one person did it. It could have been timing. It could have been we were ready to announce it and now we want to announce it now. There could be a lot of that. Since we did bring him up about who he is, he's a failed filmmaker and a failed congressional candidate.
Oh, great.
He's attacked trans people, and with he had that whole theory about that toxic chemicals are causing people to become gay and trans, and for children to identify as LGBTQ, and also believes that pride flags are indoctrination. So yes, he is trash. So this was not a thing about not giving him any power. He is complete trash, and an election denier on top of that.
Wow.
Well, lovies, I'd love to do the next story, but my teleprompter...
Just had to do a mini takedown.
We needed that.
But my teleprompter has frozen, and I can't do the next story.
All right.
And
I will clear it up for you.
Thank you.
Next, let's queer up social justice. Arkansas is quietly resisting hateful Christian nationalists. Jason Rappert, a Christian nationalist appointed by Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders to the state's library board, has sparked controversy with his hateful views. Rappert has criticized fellow board members for not supporting his push to remove LGBTQ+ books. He despairingly labeled these books pornographic and smut. He even suggested that the state library board should be abolished. On his Save the Nation broadcast, Rappert expressed his frustration over Arkansas's resistance to his conservative views. He said, quote, "I cannot get those other board members to take a stand to stop some of the smut that is in those libraries. It's ridiculous. I've made motions trying to do it," end quote. He further argued that non-supportive leaders should be replaced to align with his interpretation of biblical principles, emphasizing his belief that current leaders are failing in their duties. Rappert also accuses the community of, quote, grooming, a term I absolutely hate, often misused by anti-LGBTQ+ advocates to describe LGBTQ+ content. Critics note that such accusations distract from real issues of child abuse and often target marginalized authors. According to PEN America, 30% of banned books in the 2022-2023 school year featured characters of color or discussed racism, while another 30% included LGBTQ plus themes. Rappert's aggressive stance on removing LGBTQ plus content reveals a broader trend of marginalizing LGBTQ plus voices under the guise of protecting children. Now,
I've talked with parents, their kids, some of them adult children, have been ensnared with this LGBTQ cult, and they've cut them off. You are in a cult, and in the name of Jesus Christ, I stand against this devil of hell, this LGBTQ cult in our country. I command you in the name of Jesus to be thrown down and loose the people of this country. Let go of their minds. Let go of their families. Let go of our reins of government in this nation. You will not drag us into your pit.
You know, God, I feel that there's so many people in the world that just want to erase us. They did this in Nazi Germany with the burning of all those books. But the bottom line is we can't be erased. We can't, no matter how hard they try, because we're people and we have mouths and we will continue to tell our stories and we will continue to stand up and fight. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Even the erasing of history. Right. You know, I mean, come on, how absurd. Like, you know, because if you don't know your history and history that you might be ashamed of or you regret, how are you going to do better?
Well, the books are a distraction, right? So it's like they are trying to reset race history, and the distract is, oh, throw a book this way. Oh, go look over there. Yeah. You know,
yes.
Go ban a book while I really ban your life. Right. You know,
yes.
I said this last week. I can't say it enough. Go to Barnes & Noble. There is a banned books section in Barnes & Noble. It's not titled banned books because we're still in Florida, but it's very clear the books that are from that section. Go support any local, especially LGBTQ plus bookstores. Keep them around for as long as possible. Just wanted to plug that. I love bookstores.
Yes.
I don't know if it's labeled that, but I would say
it's not. Yeah.
But I would say I think it is labeled that at Books and Books, which is a local bookstore here in South Florida. They supported us last year with the Task Force Gala, giving us a lot of books.
And they have a website too. You can
and they have a website as well. You know, these lawmakers, again, another thing we need to make sure we bring to the attention of our audience and keep saying it over and over and over is that we were founded this country on something that's called the separation of church and state. A lot of these people, I don't know if that reading the Constitution or our history is in their wheelhouse. I think that's they're just reading the Bible for all of their major decisions. But you know, changing public policy around religion is not something this country was founded on. And the second thing is way more kids are killed by assault weapons than books. So if we want to protect children, then we should ban assault weapons and not ban books.
Hello. Like, let's talk about the real issue.
The real issue.
Come on, all this smoke and mirror.
Yes. Yeah.
It's ridiculous what they're doing.
Yeah. What's tragic to children is seeing their friends getting murdered in classrooms, and none of them are getting murdered by books. So let's also keep bringing the real issues up.
I mean, Broward County literally just installed metal detectors in all of their schools for this upcoming school year that just started, right? Their school's back. So
it's not a police state at all.
Right.
No banned books, no mount.
Not at all.
All right, next, let's queer up health. CDC study reveals what we didn't know about HIV behaviors and the barriers to care. The CDC's Medical Monitoring Project provides crucial insights into the care and challenges faced by people with HIV in the U.S., based on the data from 23 areas, including Florida. The findings show that 80% of adults with diagnosed HIV did not miss a medical appointment in the past year, and 95% are on antiretroviral therapy, with 62% adhering to all prescribed doses. This reflects strong engagement in care and the effectiveness to the current HIV management strategies. However, barriers like stigma, discrimination, and socioeconomic challenges continue to impede access to care, particularly within Florida's LGBTQ+ community. These challenges often prevent LGBTQ+ individuals from seeking timely medical care. The MMP data emphasizes the need for targeted interventions to create more inclusive healthcare environments, reduce stigma, and improve health outcomes. The report also highlights that over 50% of people with HIV in the U.S. are now over the age of 50, raising concerns about their future healthcare needs as they transition into Medicare. People with HIV often face more health challenges on Medicare than those with private insurance. Additionally, 27% of HIV-positive individuals have unmet mental health needs, and 19% experience food insecurity, indicating significant gaps in support services. Addressing these gaps is crucial to improving the quality of life for people living with HIV and ensuring they receive comprehensive care tailored to their needs. Well, I just came back from the Ryan White conference last week in DC, which was very interesting because a lot of the topics were dealing with aging, especially those people living with HIV and what that represents. And the Medicare issue came up. A lot of issues came up about medical case management, having case managers to help people as they're aging get through these issues, especially with Medicare. I was kind of like gut wrenched when they were talking in classes about geriatric HIV care. And I'm like, what age group do you consider geriatric? And they're like 50 plus. And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Okay. Wait a minute. Let me rethink this. But we do in Florida, while the numbers overall nationally speak great, we do have our barriers here in Florida itself, specifically with LGBTQ individuals. We have problems with mental therapy not being utilized. In the Ryan White system, we have 8,000 people in Broward County alone that use Ryan White services. And I would say less than 200 people actually use mental therapy services.
Wow.
Which is unbelievable. So the services aren't being utilized, but they're also not being, I would say, advertised to individuals properly to get the education and the knowledge to help them navigate systems. I do think, obviously, with antiretrovirals being injectables, that's going to be a game changer as they continue to move that forward to be a longer time, because right now it's every 2 months, but I could see eventually it's going to be longer, and that's going to be a game changer in our community overall.
Right.
I was going to ask you, because I was talking to a friend over the weekend, and we were talking about, he comes from a conservative state, comes from South Carolina. Again, a lot of the HIV transmission there is amongst men who are not out or on the DL. And we were talking about the initiatives and how the outreach goes to, a lot of our outreach for HIV goes to our LGBTQ community. Right. However, if you're in the closet or DL, you're probably not going to go get on PrEP when you have to bring a prescription home where you live with your wife, and or live with your family, or you're not going to seek those care. Right. What type of what things is happening in the HIV world that's actually getting to that audience? Because I feel like those transmissions are coming into our community because our community is having sex with those people who are not identifying.
Exactly. Well, and you talk about PrEP, which is a great thing. And obviously, there's the pill that you could take every single day. But now with injectables, they have, one that's out, you get injectable every 2 months. So you go to the doctor's office, you're not taking a prescription home. And we see that in our youth too. They don't want their families to know. Yeah. So they hide medication. Or I remember one story of a girl hiding her HIV drugs in her spare tire in her car.
Oh, I can.
Because she could not. Yeah. But then you also hear the stories of the mothers who sell their drugs so they could get food for the table for their children. So, there's a lot of things out there, and it's a way of how do we get that access for free, which that kind of still is happening. Insurance does, cover it, but it doesn't cover it 100% sometimes.
I also have to say this too, the stigma. You would think, like, we're so many years in, the medications are so good, people are living like it's a chronic disease now for the most part. You would think that the stigma would have, lessened, but it's still there. Exactly. You would have. And I think one of the things is people need to know more about you equals you. Yeah. Because when, that whole thing of if you're on your meds and you're undetectable, you're untransmittable. Right. Sometimes being with an HIV person is safe, HIV positive person could be safer than being with someone that's not, or that you don't know their status. Yeah, right. Exactly. And I think that has a lot to do with it. I get being scared of the stigma and not wanting to tell family and, that whole thing. It's still there. Yeah. It is still there.
We did a story, I want to say it was 3 or 4 weeks ago on Lennox Beer. and for PrEP, and that is twice a year. An injectable that they've doing pilot studies on, and they started it on women first, which was amazing that they did that. But it's an injectable twice a year. Can you imagine?
Wow, that's amazing.
Right.
Yep. Looking at the data and the CDC's response, because like my day job, I'm a director of research, so I tend to pull these big government data sets like this one. So I'm looking at it, and the things I found most interesting is one, like most big government data, it's a couple years back. So this is 2021 that the surveys were from, and looking at what they compared from 2018 to 2021 of what changed. So like access to healthcare got a little harder, whereas people had less home insecurity and better food security. But I looked at it and I'm like, well, of course, like in 2021, we still had an eviction moratorium, and the SNAP or food benefit program was more generous at that time, and hospitals were overwhelmed. And like a lot of researchers were all, like, I talked to different groups, all the data between 2020 and 2023 is just driving us crazy because it's hard to say what's happening now based on that. But like, I look at it and it's a reminder of like, when you do a program that helped many people, you end up actually helping a lot of marginalized people, HIV positive people, people with healthcare access. And so there's a lot more there that I hope that the CDC will like look at and really like go a little bit farther. But they probably won't. It's probably like research groups are going to have to.
There's some issues with like the food programs currently, like the funding. And
food banks are running out of food.
Food banks are running out of funding, like getting the funding so that they can give out the food.
Well, I was going to say that about Sunshine Cathedral, to be fair. They have 3 really, really incredible food insecurity relief programs. I can't speak to the extreme specifics of it all. I think one is perished cans. One is, they have the brown paper bags grab and go every day, all day. And they just said in last Sunday service that they're getting a refrigerated box for grab and go as well. So I know we're a small little city here, we're in Fort Lauderdale, but if you are in need of food, it's no questions asked. You just come, you grab it, and we're grateful that we're able to do it. So please come, Sunshine Cathedral,
900 people every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
wow.
It's they were talking about how they started. I go to Sunshine Cathedral Sunday service, and they started at 10:30 a.m.
Sorry.
And they started. I can't do the 9. 10:30 a.m. They started with feeding 7 bags. They started 7 bags, and they mentioned 900.
900.
Amazing.
There's a lot of people dealing with food insecurity. People that you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even realize. Yeah.
Next, stay informed on important LGBTQ plus news. Sign up for our email newsletter. Queer News Tonight is the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ plus evening news show, providing unique, vital reporting that no other TV nonprofit offers. With stories reaching over 500,000 subscribers, it covers essential LGBTQ plus developments worldwide, ensuring viewers staying informed on important issues. Join us as we amplify LGBTQ plus voices and stories, bringing diverse perspectives to the forefront of global news. Stay connected and informed with Queer News Tonight. For updates, sign up for our email newsletter and engage with us on social media. Don't forget to tag @Queer News Tonight on Facebook and Twitter.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday international service at 10:30 a.m.
We finish tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ+ 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up gay culture. Southern Decadence is back to Bling It On August 30. This Labor Day weekend, Southern Decadence returns to New Orleans, promising a bold celebration of LGBTQ culture. The festivities start on August 30 with a sparkling rooftop party at Dreamboat Virgin Hotel's chic bar on the 13th floor. It will feature craft cocktails by Sky Vodka and beats by DJ Tex. Themed Bling It On, guests are encouraged to wear their most dazzling attire. Performances by Debbie with a D, Wantana Dumpling, London Manchester, and Coco Mesa will add flair to this event. Proceeds will benefit Project Lazarus to support those living with HIV. Tickets are starting at $20. Book now at southerndecadence.com. You know, this sounds like a really fun party. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Try go, you know?
You had me at Wantana Dumpling.
That one, honey, I'm hungry now.
Like, I don't know if I want to see a drag show or actually order dumplings.
I like dumplings, exactly. Exactly.
And
Well,
great support for HIV and,
Yep.
Oh, yes.
in
Yeah,
a state like Louisiana that probably
Right.
has very limited resources.
Yes.
So a great reason to support.
well, I won't be going, but I have a lot of sparkly things in my closet I could have worn.
You can be Southern and decadent here.
Yeah.
Raj.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
LGBTQ+ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up gay culture. Report shows many gay animals. We are not surprised. The beloved gay penguin Sven recently passed away at an Australian aquarium, sparking a surge in Google searches asking, can animals be gay? The answer is yes, and researchers can prove it. One research from Estación Experimental de Zonas Áridas in Spain confirms that same-sex activity is common across the animal kingdom. Scientists have documented various behaviors like courtship, mounting, genital contact, copulation, and pair bonding. Notably, 87% of recorded interactions involved mounting and genital contact. The study found that over 1,500 animal species, from spiders to mammals, engage in same-sex activities. Among mammals, this behavior is more frequent, observed in 261 species across 62 families. The research also revealed a slight prevalence of male-on-male activity compared to female-on-female activity. Shocker. Listen, if it happens in the animal kingdom, it happens in our kingdom.
I cannot believe that we had you read mounting and animal genitalia.
I'm waiting for a remix of that on Twitter, like kind of like Michelle Obama's speech.
That is so good.
It actually supports us.
Can you remix
because
that, Fleeter, please?
Is it nature versus nurture? I mean, if it's existing in nature, why wouldn't it exist in us human beings? You know, people always want to argue, oh, like you chose it, like it's not real.
They were groomed into being.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yes.
Right.
There was all those pride flags in the zoo.
And that explains all the male dogs that I attract in my life.
No.
You need a leash, honey. You need a leash.
I just think this is what, to all those animals mounting and genital contact, good for all of you. Keep it up.
At least someone.
Who are we to judge?
One way to
right?
control the animal population.
Yes.
Oh boy. LGBTQ+, so 1 minute news. Let's clear up gay culture. Reddit users share must-have Grindr hookup etiquette. There may not be an official guide to Grindr etiquette, but Reddit users have offered some tips for hosts looking to be conscious. The discussion took place on the r/AskGayMen subreddit, where a newly out user sought advice on how to make his guests feel more comfortable. Many Redditors stress the importance of cleanliness, with a clean home, bed, and body being non-negotiable. Essentials like lube, condoms, and mouthwash were also mentioned. For safety, some users recommended providing a sealed water bottle instead of a glass to avoid any discomfort or suspicion. Creating a relaxed atmosphere was another key point. One Redditor shared, quote, "One guy offered me an ice cream sandwich after sex. He's in the Host Hall of Fame for that," end quote. What is on your list, anchors? Is there anything special that goes into planning? Now, this could be a random Grindr hookup. This could be a hookup with a husband, a hookup with a partner. What are we looking for here? I'm a big smell guy.
Yes.
So the room has to smell
Oh
like
my
spa.
God.
I want, like eucalyptus and
I have been
annoying.
doing it for years. When I have someone come over, I always make sure the place smells lovely.
Yeah.
Like, some really pleasant smell.
Yeah.
I have cold water bottles to offer them.
Very nice.
Also, mouthwash. I do have that afterwards. When they start to think, "Oh my God, what did I just do?" Here's some mouthwash, baby. And you'll rinse it all the way. And then, of course, towel and washcloth in case they
Clean
might.
towels is clean towel and a shower is top tier. Offering a shower is nice.
Sometimes they need it.
I see this, and it just makes me pine for the days of the man for man section of Craigslist, where they would just spell it all out. Like if a guy would just tell he just tell you what you want. I'm like, okay, so they're gonna have me do this. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna dress up in a soccer team outfit. He's gonna call me Skip, and I'm like, okay, coach. It was simple back then.
Easy 20 minutes.
Exactly.
This reminded me, this could be a great TV show, kind of like Queer Eye,
Oh, wow.
Grindr guy, where they come over and fix your apartment so you're ready for a hookup.
Oh, I love that.
Because I can imagine a lot of people don't get it.
Yeah.
So this story brought that up.
Could this be another queer news show?
It could be a segment.
Or like extreme home makeover, but for hookups.
There might be plenty of Fort Lauderdalians that this would help.
Lauderdarians,
The
Lauderdarians.
Lauderdarians versus the Redditors.
Right.
Okay.
And for all of our viewers, just to clarify, yes, trans women go on Grindr.
You betcha.
Thank you very much.
Newsflash.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo reflect on Wicked Bond. Wicked Part 1 stars Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo shared their unique connection to their role in a new teaser titled, quote, "The Power Bond of Friendship," end quote. Grande, who portrays Glinda, the Good Witch, reflected on her bond with co-star Arivo, saying, quote, "These two very different women just fall completely in love with each other, and that is a mirrored experience of what happened with Cynthia and I," end quote. Erivo, who plays, oh God, I'm going to butcher this, Elphaba.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I did it.
You got
Elphaba
it.
echoed this sentiment, saying, quote, "We both just found each other, I guess. We just got each other immediately," end quote. Directed by John M. Chu, Wicked Part 1 is set for release on November 29th, 2024, with the sequel following on November 26, 2025. Well, I mean, I'm excited. I'm
going to take you, Auntie Raj. We're
yeah.
going to go see it together.
Yeah, thank you. I'm ashamed, but I don't get into some of this stuff, But anyway,
before it was a long-running Broadway box office hit. The book is one of the most incredible reads. If you can, if you're a reader or if you're a Kindler, you should definitely read the book before watching. It just tells a really loving story of Elphaba, which is. It's way more diverse and troubled and lovely than you would ever get from just the Broadway.
It's that love-hate relationship.
love-hate.
It is. It really is. And it builds into something amazing.
God, this is deep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No,
yes.
Great. No, thank you for
And then there's a love-hate relationship in the book with Elphaba within herself, too. So it's there's a lot that happens. I was a theater major, so this movie is stop. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm going the night of. I can't wait.
The only thing with this article is it reminded me that Ariana Grande did a duet with Mika to the song Popular, which is from the Broadway.
Yes.
And now that's back and stuck in my head for the rest of the day. But I must really compliment them on doing both movies within a year. Unlike most TV shows, they're once every 5 to 10 years. We'll do this.
Yeah, strangest.
If the movies industry can do it, what about the TV industry? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, these two must have some contract for this movie because I have not seen someone sell a relationship this hard since J-Lo and Ben. Because these two are everywhere together.
Oh,
they're dressed alike. They're doing everything together. They went to the Olympics together.
They're going
to hockey games together. I mean, they are connected at the hip. So God bless them, and I hope the movie makes billions of dollars.
Me too.
Wow. Okay. LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up drag culture. Austin Brewery introduces big gay beer after a drag threat. After a bomb threat that forced the cancellation of a drag brunch, Austin's Brutorium Brewery and Kitchen launched Big Gay Beer, donating all proceeds to veterans for Equality, an LGBTQ plus advocacy group. Through the evidence of an actual threat could not be found, the event's cancellation impacted the community. The statement by the brewery said, in response to the bomb threat we received at June's legendary drag brunch with Las Ofrendas that forced us to have to cancel the event, our staff got together and decided to brew the biggest, gayest beer we could possibly imagine to show our continued commitment to being a safe place for queer people and all good, kind, and loving individuals in our city, end quote. All I can say is they took something that was horrible and made it into something wonderful, and bravo.
Isn't that the beauty of our community? We can make lemon meringue pie out of lemons.
Delicious.
That is our gift.
Right.
You know, so something horrible, the community was still able to come together and do something fun with it.
I love that you think I could handle baking lemon meringue pie. It'd be chaos, but I love you.
That's why they call us gay.
Right.
Well, maybe instead of making it, you can Uber eat.
I could buy it. Yeah.
Do you make banana cream pie?
No.
But I eat it.
I love it. Yeah.
And it just shows that our community is not going to be afraid and push back. And I think that's what our communities have been about for forever. So these threats and things are, of course, they're scary, and some of them do lead to actual violence. But a majority of them are designed to intimidate us. And I think this is a great story to fight back against that.
Right. So that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community, the world's first and only daily LGBTQ evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. This is the passion of HOTspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Eric Restivo, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Jeff Oliverio, Alex Morash, Rajee Narine-Singh, and Bon Biggs, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you
Good night.
Good night.